Hey guys, it's Katie, and I wanted to talk about when I realized I was gay. It's really hard to say. I never woke up one day and said, oh my gosh, I think I like girls. No, that's not how it worked for me. That's not how it happened. Basically, I remember having feelings for girls all of my life. But I thought that everyone felt that way about girls. I thought it was just something you didn't talk about, but was always there. For me, I would always get really, really close to my best friends. I would have like this emotional attachment to them. I never really connected that until I was about 13 or 14. I kind of connected the dots and I said, you know what? It's not normal to want to be all lovey-dovey with your best friend. It would be a little awkward sometimes. Even when I was little, I would want to like hold my best friend's hand or be physical, but not like, not like explicit, just like huggy and cuddly. But I thought that was normal because, I loved her, she was my best friend, whatever. As I grew up, I kind of got more aware of that, and I realized that's not how everyone acts with their best friends. I noticed that no one else was really doing that. I kind of realized that I was different than the rest of the girls. They wouldn't be thinking about, giving them kisses on the cheek or like wanting to hold their hand. Instead, they would have those feelings towards guys. For me, it was never really that kind of awkwardness, I guess you could say, to my guy friends. And awkwardness referring to I have feelings for this person. It was never like that for me with guys. I looked at them like my brothers. Awkwardness isn't really the right word for it. For girls, it was always like that. It's kind of like attention, but not really attention, you know what I mean? When you like someone and you like flirt with them and stuff, you're really cautious about what you say and what you do and how you look. It was always like that for me with girls, but never with guys. And I never really thought anything of it until I was around 13. And then I thought, you know what? No one else is like that except for bi girls. When I was in 7th grade, being bi was like a major trend. To say that you were bi was cool. 12-year-olds would go around and be like, oh yeah, I like guys and girls. Guys would think that was hot, and girls would think like, ooh, she's cool because she's bi. I never ever followed that trend. I would never say that I was bi, but inside I was just like, you know what, maybe that is me, just for the girl part. But I certainly never told anybody because I was scared and I wasn't comfortable with it at the time, and I wasn't comfortable with myself, and I wasn't certain. It wasn't like a, ooh, that's so cool thing for me. It was serious for me. I think about all those feelings that I had for girls and I would get scared. I never wanted to let anyone in on that. I did have a few boyfriends. Although I knew that I had feelings for girls, I never really straight up confronted it and like admitted it to myself. After that whole 7th grade thing, I kind of just tried to ignore it almost. I would try to just think of it as a fad. I would just say, oh, well, everyone was saying that they were bi, so maybe it was just like a trend for me. Now, of course, I know that that's not true. In 8th grade, I had a boyfriend. He was my first boyfriend. And now it's really funny because he is one of my closest friends. He was like one of those guys who you've known for so long, and then it's just like, oh, hee hee, I like him now. Oh, let's go out type of thing. It wasn't like, ooh, I've been in love with him for like 3 years. We were just always friends. When we were little, we'd play together and we'd ride bikes together, stuff like that. So I went out with him. That lasted like half a year, maybe. But it wasn't legit necessarily. I don't know how to describe it. We were in a relationship, but we would talk like on the phone like once a week. We didn't go to the same school. We lived like half an hour away from each other, but we'd see each other like once a month. For me at least, when we would see each other, it would just be awkward. Constantly like this pressure or like this, well, what do I do now? It never felt natural. It never felt right. It just always felt totally weird. So I ended up breaking up with him just because I thought, oh, he's not the right guy for me. Maybe he's just not the type of guy that I want to be with. And then in freshman year of high school, I had a boyfriend and we were really steady. We were like, oh, so in love. Quite honestly, now that I look back on it, it was always awkward. No matter how bad this sounds, I was always kind of in it so people wouldn't think that I was gay because I was so conscious about that. So I was with him for 5 months or something. It was like your average high school relationship, but it was always that awkwardness. I even remember thinking about my future and about getting married. I would always kind of try to replace him with a girl, not really realizing it. I would never think of him. I would kind of think of a more feminine figure. I would just kind of think of the bigger picture. Like I would think of like the house that I wanted, the car that I wanted. I wouldn't think of the person who I wanted it with. So we didn't work out either. So then I completely admitted it to myself. I was just like, this whole guy thing isn't working out. It's just too awkward. It doesn't feel right. And I remember having all these conversations with like my mom and everything, and I would just be like, well, was it ever awkward for you to be in a relationship? Have you ever felt really awkward with a boy? Things like that. I don't think that she knew what I meant, like I intended it to come across. Because she said, yeah, it's awkward at first, but that's what makes it fun. She was just describing two people being attracted to each other. She wasn't necessarily describing what I was feeling, so I was even further confused. I realized that I liked girls. I was done with guys, and so I just completely ruled guys out of the picture. I didn't tell anyone except my girlfriend. She was actually my first girlfriend. She was my first love. She is basically what got me through everything. There was never a doubt in my mind with her. There was never that awkwardness that I had mentioned before. You know, there was never that weird tension. It always just felt right. It was what I was searching for the whole time. It was just what I pictured love to be like. I would think of these feelings that, you know, I wanted to have, and that's what I wanted to have. It just took a little bit of time to realize who I wanted to have it with. In my heart, I think I always knew. I always say that experimenting for me was with guys. For me, my experimenting and my kind of finding myself was with guys. It was kind of reversed for me because teenagers experiment with the same sex, and everyone kind of pictures it as like, you know, a phase or a fad, or like, oh yeah, it's something I did at that party that one night. But for me, that's what being with guys was like. For me, that awkwardness was with guys. The moment that me and my girlfriend started going out, I knew that that was what was right for me. And those were the feelings that I had had all along. And everything just automatically made sense from there. I never had a doubt that this is who I was. I just automatically accepted myself because it had felt so right. So yeah, that's pretty much my background story about when I found out I was gay. That's how I would answer if people ask me that. Thank you for watching. Bye.